Okay, so now that you're familiar with the run screen and how it works, let's take a look at the fishmouth screen and dive in how to program our machine. So the first thing that you do is you click on that button. It takes you to that particular screen. What you're going to see over here is that we have, a diagram and the data entry fields. And this screen is the screen where I want you to do any data entry that you have for your program, the pipe that you want to cut. It is all reasonably self-explanatory. The cut pipe diameter, the cut pipe outside diameter, obviously, is the diameter of the pipe that you want to cut. The cut pipe inside diameter, in this particular case, we're programming to 1.5 inch sched 40. That has a 1.9 inch outside diameter. Wall thickness is 0.145. If you double that and subtract it from 1.9, math's pretty easy. You get 1.61. The length of the pipe that you want to cut. Now, this is one that you want to be a little bit particular about because it's one of the more challenging. As simple as all of this is, including the length of the pipe, the concept of, what length you should actually enter into this screen is probably, one of the more challenging ones. And it is simple as center line of cut pipe, of the pipe you're mitering into, to the center line of the other pipe that you're mitering into along the axis of the pipe that you are cutting. Okay. And, the good news is most drawings that are out there, that's exactly what they show you. They show you center line of pipe to center line of pipe and the length between them. So when you're entering this in, it's very important that you understand how you arrive at that particular length. And if I need to do another video on how to calculate that length, that's just straight geometry. We could certainly do that. It's a piece of cake. But we'll leave that for right now. We'll assume that that's something that you know how to do, and we'll leave that for a future video. Just let me know. So then the next parameter that you're going to enter in, again, it's pretty self-explanatory. That's angle 1. What you need to understand about that is that's the angle. This is the angle that you want to put in. Don't worry about the fact that this is greater than 90 degrees. I have a 32-degree angle put in, and all that means is that instead of the pipe running down here, the pipe is going to go and it's going to run up this way, and that angle is going to be still 32 degrees. Do not worry about the fact that what you're cutting is not actually represented here in this diagram. You're always looking for that particular angle. You're not looking for the angle down here in any case, okay? So angle 1 for this particular program, it's going to be 32 degrees. Angle 2, same thing. Pay attention to where it is, even if this were 110 degrees, or in this case, it's 77, which is less than 90 degrees. So visually, this is how that's represented. But if it were 110 degrees, for example, 110 degrees, okay, then that's still the correct angle, 110 degrees that we're going to put in here, but the cut isn't going to look like this. And this brings up another point here that I want to make sure that everybody understands. In order to get data into the field, into any field in this spreadsheet, or in this program, you have to click on the cell that you want to change, you have to type in the change, and then you have to press enter. If you just put in the number 2 and then click off the field, it reverts to what was in there before. You have to put in the number and press enter in order to get it in. And so let's put this one back to 3 inches for now. And then the next thing is the pipe diameter. That's very self-explanatory. And then finally you have the rotation, and this one this is going to merit a video by itself. It just suffice it to say that, in this diagram, what you're looking at are 3 pipes that are essentially sitting on a flat table. And, in practical application, that's not always going to be the case. It may be the case that this pipe is sitting on the flat table, this pipe is sitting on the flat table, but this one is off the table and it's rotated in a plane that's perpendicular to the table. Again, to try and describe what's going on with that one here is a little bit of a challenge, but in a future video, we'll get into more depth as to what that particular cell means. For the time being, let's just leave that at 0 degrees. And trust me, when you need to use this, you'll know that you need to use this. So at any rate, once you get all your data in here, it's very simple to program. You just hit calculate G code. It's going to come up with this dialog box because you're going to want to save your program. So here it's going to be test 1, and you click OK, and it has generated for you over here on the right hand side what your G code is going to look like in order to cut the pipe to the parameters that you have in here. The other thing that it's done is it's automatically loaded that program. It's automatically loaded that program into the program run screen. And at this point, if your machine's all set up and you want to go ahead and run it, all that you do is click start cycle, and it runs through and obviously goes up to the safe height position, and then goes to its starting position for the pierce, which in this case is quite a distance away because we're moving into a 3-inch pipe. But what you'll see is it gets to there, and then it'll hit this M3 code and start the pierce, and the cut is underway. This is just a demo version, or this machine is not hooked up to any CNC right now, so it's not actually doing anything other than changing the display for the DRO. But in future videos, we'll tie the two together so you can actually see it working after you've done this program. So that's it for the fishmouth. That you've just programmed a pipe that needs to be cut. Let's say the beautiful part about this is that for most projects, you're going to be using similar pipe diameters for each cut. So, once you get this first set of data put in, then the next variables are the length. We won't go to 120 inches. You could go to 120 inches, but it's not best to use this screen for anything that's over the bed length. But let's say you wanted to go to 65 inches for the pipe. And let's say that this one is a little bit different. It's 45 degrees and 45 degrees. Hit calculate G code, test 2, and now your second pipe is programmed. And it really is just that simple.